start.
Oh, we are live.
We are live.
To today's live. Good afternoon. It is nearly Easter, so I'm hoping you're preparing for your Easter holidays. But today we are going to be talking about how to cope with an extended lockdown. So far we've been in lockdown for 3 weeks, and we will find out this weekend whether we are going to be extended in lockdown and how long for as well. So we're going to look at some things that we can do to try and get our mindsets in the right place to plan for the worst. And if things are better than that, then great. It's going to be a lovely surprise for us. But what can we do in the meantime to make sure that we keep a positive mindset and make sure that we don't go insane? So Dave, what's your number one tip during this time to get through an extended lockdown?
Well, as someone who's already gone insane, I don't have that pressure that everyone else has. I'm not suddenly going to go insane. But in all seriousness, we're in a very fortunate position. We talk to a lot of people daily. And I think what I'm getting from it, and I'm sure Tracy's the same, is we're getting the good tips from people, and we're also getting where people are struggling. And it's kind of helping us, I think, the fact that we are coaching a lot of people and we're listening to how they've made some positives out of this. And I think structure is one thing that's quite interesting to talk to people, because everyone's in very different situations. Some people are working as normal, so the structure's still there. Some people are working from home for the first time in their lives, and the structure's a bit hard to stick to. And some people have been furloughed. Now, God knows what I thought it was a cuddly animal until a few weeks ago. But furloughs, apparently, where you can't work, but you're getting paid. Sounds pretty good. Why haven't we been furloughed? But no.
And with kids being at home now as well, it changes the dynamic of your routine and things like that as well.
Yeah. And I think the first thing for me, and we can just go backwards and forwards between us, obviously, is create structure. And we've just had a chat. You're trying to keep your structures going as they have been in the normal world. There's things that even for myself, I've suddenly realised I haven't shaved for 3 weeks. I hate having a beard. I look about 67. But it's just something that I've kind of gone like holiday mode on. And I think it's really important. You've got more time. But you've got to keep those structures. Now, for me, talking to a lot of people, for the first 2 weeks, people went a little bit all or nothing with exercise. They started to take a bit more time to get up. But it's interesting speaking to people this week that they've tried to recreate their routine, and they've realised that this is going on. What was my daily routine? What can I still do? We'll come on to all of this in a minute. And my week used to look like this. Now, how do I recreate my normal life virtually? And I think that's where we should start, because keeping the structure is the most important thing to keep your mindset going towards something. And the focus should be on, how am I going to come out of this better?
I feel like the first 2 weeks actually reminded me a little bit of like Christmas, when everyone kind of took it as a bit of a holiday and just went out and enjoyed themselves, enjoyed the food, just kind of threw everything else out the window. And I think now reality is kicking in a little bit more, and it's becoming more and more important that people are finding their own routine again. And that doesn't specifically mean that routine needs to be exactly the same as it was before. You might actually have to create a brand new routine that you can stick to at home.
Yeah, and I think we're not going to tell anyone anything that's rocket science, but I think that it's quite interesting to talk to so many people that kind of just need the reiteration that it's all about, really, what was I doing on a normal Monday to Friday or a Saturday, Sunday? How do I recreate that, or what do I replace it with? Because the reality is, some people are still working. We'll come on to furloughing in a minute, and just what some people have said to us. People still want to do social activities. People still want to exercise. People still want to eat. So I've got some top tips, but I think we should tackle it maybe in, how does it work for you, Tracy?
I think having timings as well, trying to eat at similar times, trying to get up at certain times and go to bed at the same time. Even going out for a walk, I tend to have a specific time in the day that I go out time, just to keep that routine going. The other thing that I think is quite a good thing to do for a lot of people is first thing in the morning, we're so used to just getting up, rushing out. Sometimes we don't even have time for breakfast and rushing to work. But now we don't really have that. So it's what do we fill that time with to get ourselves up and motivated? And I think for me, it would be doing something or some things that you love doing. So doing something that makes you happy first thing in the morning, whether that is meditation, exercise, eating a nice breakfast, even having a phone call with somebody like a friend or a family that's just going to put a smile on your face first thing in the morning.
Yeah, join an exercise class, socialise with people, make breakfast a big event. That's what I've been trying to do. It's quite interesting because you just actually look forward to getting up, because there needs to be a reason to get up, because that's the other conversation I've had a lot with people, is the fact they don't need to do the commute means they're getting up later, and then actually they've started to start work later, but actually they should be able to start on time easier now. But people have allowed themselves to get into that structure if they're not being clamped down on by businesses. A lot of people I know who are 8 o'clock starters are starting at 10, but then that's throwing the rest of their day.
And that's okay. I think one of the things that I learned from working at home in the last 18 months is it's okay not to start work at 8 o'clock or 9 o'clock in the morning because you're at home. But having that structure that still allows you to get the same amount of work done just means that you're going to have to work a little bit later potentially, or be more efficient with your time. So try not to beat yourself up a little bit because you're not starting as early as normal, because you might not be a morning person, and work has just like pounded into you that you need to be a morning person even if you're not.
Yeah, I think something you just touched on before we went on the live is really important. About being grateful. Could you go into that a bit further?
Yeah, my second tip is my favorite line at the moment and saying is, where focus goes, energy flows. And I think that is so true, especially in this situation, when if you're somebody who focuses on negative things with staying at home or how long this is going to go on for, you're going to actually start to feel very negative within yourself, within your mindset. But if you start to turn that around and think, well, what positives are there? What are the things I can be grateful for? There's lots of things happening at the moment that you can be grateful for. You can be grateful for your own home and safety that you have there. We're grateful for the NHS, definitely. I'm grateful for the weather, which is amazing right now. Even though I don't have a garden, and that weather is allowing me to go outside. I'm grateful for my health, which I'm sure you are as well, Dave.
Yeah, I'm grateful for your health, and I'm grateful for my health as well.
I'm grateful for being able to go outside and exercise. Just to be able to go out for that daily walk is massive. I'm grateful for our members and our clients. My team, so myself and Dave. Definitely.
Yeah, and I'm grateful for working with positive people, and I'm grateful for working with members who are, really understanding, the power of communicating. And it's been great to get their feedback and them to start realizing. And it's amazing to speak to people who really have started to focus on quality time with the family and realize that actually there's things they've been missing. I think that's a lovely thing to hear, because there's very few people I've spoke to, because it is so severe, and when you start seeing our Prime Minister in intensive care, it brings it down to a level of like, well, actually, let's start looking at the good things. Let's look at how lucky I am. I haven't been infected. My family hasn't. If it has, they might have pulled through. It's not easy, but I just think there's so much coming out of this that is going to maybe not change the world, but it's going to give us a little bit of an insight into maybe how we can live differently. One thing I'd like to share with everyone, what I really liked, all of us should be going on Facebook at the moment, writing a note of what's happening at the moment, listing out everything that's happening, how hard the NHS is working, what's happening in the world, for one reason. When that reappears on your memory in Facebook in a year's time, 2 years' time, 3 years' time, 4 years' time, it'll remind you of where we are now. Because I guarantee you, a lot of us will go back to it. And it's a really good tip I saw from a couple of people. And I really like it. I don't know what you think about it, but getting through this, we will get through this. We'll focus on the positives. reminding ourselves down the line of how amazing life is going to be brilliant.
Yeah. Vicky says she's grateful for the space in her garden and garage. I believe that's because she's exercising in it, and it's allowing her to have that space, you know, to enjoy the outside.
I've spent a lot of time virtually in Vicky's garage.
Yeah, yeah, we are doing some training sessions with Vicky in her garage, and it's quick, which is amazing.
I think it's amazing how adaptable people are. I think we should also, talk about this whole virtual aspect. I think we may have taken it for granted a little bit because we went straight online. We've done some quizzes for people, which I love. But last night I spoke to some people who just haven't virtually connected with anyone.
Yeah, and that is the last thing on my list to be, well, not the last, but on my list that I am grateful for is modern day technology. I mean, imagine if we didn't have it, we wouldn't be speaking to you now. Which they've, I'm doing video calls with my family. We are doing quizzes for our members on Fridays. There's so many things that people are doing virtually, which is amazing, just to connect.
Yeah, that leads into this new word that everyone's now learned, furlough.
Yeah.
If you've been furloughed, I just like saying furloughed now. I don't know why. If you've been furloughed, shall I say it again, furloughed? You've basically been told not to work. Okay, and that's the problem that a few of the members and clients we train have come across, and that's I think that's one of the most difficult things we've had work to focus on. I think this is actually making us, really focus on helping people more and more in the future. But if you've been furloughed, you have taken out your structure.
Yeah.
And in talking to people who've been furloughed, it's fascinating how people have taken to it. Some have gone, right, I have no idea what to do. A couple of people I spoke to, I think it's brilliant. There is a lot of free education out there. That free education is something you can focus on. The time you used to spend on work, maybe don't work 8 hours a day. Maybe go back to being a student. Treat it as a bit of university time, or college time or school time. Maybe make sure you've put that structure in for yourself that you're going to do 3, 4, 5 hours of study a day to maybe improve your career, or look at changing what you do in the future, or just choose a hobby. I think that's one thing I'm fascinated with. It's allowed me time to try out some new things, which I probably would have put off for another 5 years.
Yeah, and that's exactly it, isn't it? There's things that we do now that we never would have been able to do before. We never would have put time away for, because we're at work, or families taking over, or we were just so busy, and suddenly we've been given the gift of time, and to have that time just means that we are enabled to do something that we thought we've never done before, or we want to learn more of. And education is massive. There's so much free education out there right now, especially in this scenario.
Yeah, and it's a great time to catch up on those things, the reading, anything. I mean, I'll be honest, Tracy's been telling me to read a book for a year, and I've put it off, and I've read it, and in a couple of days I was like, why haven't I read that book? I should have really read that book. That's just made me think differently overnight. But we're not going to say she was right live on air, am I?
I mean, we don't have to say I was right, but we all know.
But it is that kind of thing. I mean, I'm sure people are having down days. Everyone's having days where it's a little bit surreal, because this is a unprecedented, weird situation. But I like the fact that people are sort of joining in our quizzes. I'm running them for families, and people are starting to think, well, I used to do this virtually. I know we've got some people joining us on Friday night for our quiz who just have been looking for a quiz, because that's something they've always done, one night a week. People are beginning to find their dance classes, their exercise classes, virtual pubs. I talked a lot about with one of our members yesterday, and they've actually got a virtual pub going on every Friday night. And the great thing is you can mute the annoying person in the pub.
Yeah, that goes back to what we were saying before. If you do overthink the situation right now, you probably are going to be a bit overwhelmed, and you probably are going to feel a little bit negative. And so where your focus goes, your energy really does flow. So focusing on the positive things and the things that you can do now to create your own structure, opportunity to do something amazing. And it might be that you pick up an instrument that you 10 years ago, but you haven't touched it since. It's now covered in dust. You know, it might be the time to dust off that piano or guitar or whatever it is that you've learned in the past, and you know, read it.
Yeah. Sorry, I lost you a little bit there.
Yeah. So I think 4 big tips there. Focus. So 1, to try and create a routine or a structure, something that's going to keep you, you know, do something so everybody know what's happening. You've got a reason to get up, and you feel at the end of the day you've achieved something. 2, start looking at what you're grateful for. Look at the positives of this opportunity. Maybe even write them down. Take a moment to write down what you are grateful for right now. See how you feel at the end of it, because you'll be feeling a lot more positive. 3, connect with as many people online as you can, whether that's through Facebook, social media, video calls, whatever it is. Connect with people, and because everybody is feeling a little bit alone and isolated, and now is the opportunity where no one's too busy to take your phone call. So
very true. Very true.
And number 4, finally, is think now that you wouldn't have been able to do before because you just didn't have the time.
Definitely. And I think, we're just sharing our tips and what we've heard from people as well, and that's really important for people to share at the moment. And I'll put it out there, if anyone slightly different to the way we help people, if anyone wants to get in contact with me to design a quiz for their family or put something together, or just a little bit of help in running a virtual meeting, please contact, because we're all in this together. And if we can help people connect virtually, that's part of our way of helping people with their mental health.
Yeah. And that doesn't just have to be for a quiz. If you are stuck at home feeling isolated, get in touch with us. We'd be very happy to have a call with you, a virtual coffee, and just chat about what it is that's, getting you down.
I love a virtual coffee and cake at the moment.
You're bringing the cake? Okay, brilliant.
No, everyone bakes their own cakes at the moment. It's fantastic. People are turning up. Like yesterday, I had apple and parsnip, and someone's had beetroot and dark chocolate today. Eventually, everyone's just going to be making cake out of what they can find in their cupboards, and we'll be having some weird concoctions. It'll be like a random episode of The Good Life.
Maybe we'll have an online bake-off. Let's
have an online bake-off. I said that a couple of weeks ago. Let's have an online bake-off. Definitely.
Thank you to those who live. We will be back. Are we coming back tomorrow? Friday. Holiday Friday, isn't it? So we may not be back there.
We might be around the barbecue. Virtual barbecue day.
Thanks so much for joining. Have a great Easter eggs, and see you again on Tuesday.
See you later. Take care. Have a good day.